Are some people born to lose? Or are they simply born into a family where they never receive what they deserve? Hello. Today, we will talk about a character from one of the most striking series of recent years, Kendall Roy from Succession. But this is not just a character analysis. This is the story of a man who is ignored, made to feel worthless, and disappears while constantly seeking approval. In other words, it is the embodiment of the inner collapse that most of us feel in our most vulnerable moments. Kendall Roy, heir to a powerful media empire. But let me say this from the start. No one sits on the throne in this story, because standing in the way of the throne is a father, Logan Roy. And this father is someone who tests his children instead of loving them, corners them instead of supporting them. Kendall is the child who is always struggling within this labyrinth, the one who works the hardest, takes the most risks, suffers the most in the family. But every effort he makes is either belittled or sabotaged, as if no matter what he does, it's not enough. And he hears this most when he needs love the most, from the people he trusts the most. Kendall's personality is a complete tangle of conflicts. On one hand, there is a constant effort to prove himself. On the other, self-loathing. Dependent personality traits are clear. He can't make decisions, always leans on an authority, but at the same time, he has narcissistic outbursts wanting to keep control in his hands. Grand declarations, exaggerated presentations, going on stage to rap. All of it is actually a scream of, "See me! Take me seriously!" But the tragedy is this. This scream is mostly unheard by his family. Even in his weakest moment, when he expects a hand on his shoulder, instead that weakness is thrown in his face. Kendall may be falling, but instead of lifting him up, they step on him. And each time, instead of pulling himself together, he gets even more lost. According to Freud, every boy wants to overthrow his father one day. But Kendall feels guilty even while wanting this, because his father, Logan Roy, is not just a parent. He is like a god to him. He both misses his absence and cannot escape his shadow. According to Jung's shadow archetype, the aspects we suppress will erupt one day. The dark side within Kendall, repressed ambition, desire for control, and anger, sometimes overflows. But immediately after comes fear and regret, because he has always wanted to be the good boy, but in doing so he has lost himself. Let's remember John Bowlby's attachment theory. If secure attachment cannot be established in childhood, in adulthood we either avoid relationships or cling to them. Kendall is the embodiment of the anxious avoidant. If his father were to say to him one day, "Well done, son," maybe everything would change. But that sentence never comes, and with every failure, he turns to himself and asks, "Where did I go wrong?" Maybe he never did. He was just born into the wrong family. Kendall is actually a good child labeled as the bad kid within the family, always the one who tries the hardest but is always found insufficient. That's why one day to say, "I exist too," he doesn't even hesitate to lose himself. Substance use, manipulative decisions, crises, all of these are reflections of a silent depression. Doesn't this seem familiar in real life as it is? Throughout history, we have seen this in the children of great figures. Prince Charles remained in the shadow of his mother, the Queen, for years. He had to carry the throne even though he didn't want it. Or the Duke of Windsor, Prince Edward. He refused the responsibility because he knew he couldn't bear that burden. Even in today's world, there are many people who were born successful but raised with a sense of worthlessness. Nepo babies, children of big bosses, heirs of conglomerates. They all carry a different version of the inner emptiness that Kendall experienced. So let's ask, is Kendall a failure or someone who was made to fail? How much of his fault is his own and how much belongs to his family? And as we watch this story, are we really mocking him or are we watching ourselves? Kendall Roy is not just a character. He represents everyone who is blamed for failing but actually left alone. A voice struggling within the family but unheard. A modern figure who loses himself while trying to prove himself. Maybe that's why he affects us so much, because all of us have wanted to be seen by someone, and some of us might still be trying to hear that, "well done." Why do you think Kendall keeps stumbling? Is he really inadequate, or is he experiencing a self-imposed sense of inadequacy? Write your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious about your opinions. Who should we talk about in the next episode? See you soon!